So we're now just about to get into May, the middle of spring. It certainly doesn't feel like spring, and we're still waiting for spring to actually arrive. It feels more like March, to be honest. In fact, for the last 8 months, it's felt like a perpetual autumn. We sowed quite a lot of things in January, February, March and April, and there are still many more things which you can sow in May. Some of these things, it's sort of your last chance to get them sown before it's too late, and there are many other things which you can successionally sow, so you get a continuous harvest throughout the growing season. So I hope you find this video useful. If you do, hit that like button. So what can you sow in May, and what am I sowing in the month of May? Let's get right into it. So starting off our list, we'll go over the things where it's your last chance to get them sown in May, really, before it gets too late. And the first thing which we'll go over is tomatoes. It's getting a little bit late to sow your tomatoes if you're doing them from seed anyway. You want to get your tomatoes sown in March and April, really, if you want to achieve a harvest before autumn sets in. And you can sow your tomatoes in May, but you're going to get a harvest a little bit later. If you don't want to achieve a tomato crop quite late in the growing season, then go to the garden centre and get some tomato plants. You may be better off doing that in May, but it depends where you live, of course. Every location has different climate, different temperature, so yeah. My tomato plants are here. I've got most of them at home, actually, to be honest, still, but I have brought a couple of guinea pig plants down. Here's one of them. This is Sun Gold, one of my favourite tomatoes, Sun Gold, and it looks okay. It looks pretty good. We've had a couple of really cold nights over the last few days. Got down to about -1 last night, but the greenhouse was fine, and clearly we're having no issues here, so the guinea pig plants are surviving in here okay. Now, with things like peppers and aubergines, May is a bit late, to be honest, to get them sown, because they do take a long time to grow. I actually started buying in January, and I've got one here, actually. It doesn't look very good, this one, though. This is, it needs a water, that's why it's gone all floppy like that. I brought one down just to see how it copes. I've got about 20 of them at home under the grow lights. They're looking pretty good. I need to water it, though, and it'll come back. I've got another one here, actually, and this one has a big problem with edema, which is a problem with water. It's the plant taking up too much water, and you get these blistered leaves here, these blisters, because the leaves are holding too much water. That's a problem with the compost, I think. That's Jack's Magic compost. I'm not going to go off on too much of a tangent, but the Jack's Magic peat-free compost is absolutely rubbish, to be honest. It's either too dry or too wet. Now, another vegetable, or more fruit actually, it's actually a fruit, not a vegetable, cucumber. May is your last chance, really, to get them sown. Like with the tomatoes, if you want to achieve a crop before it's too late in the growing season, get them sown in May. I've got some mini munch cucumbers at home now. I am waiting until the nighttime temperatures improve, which is in a few days actually, and then I'm going to bring it down everything from the grow lights into the greenhouse. As I said, I've got some guinea pig plants in here, but that's as far as I've gone, actually, really, just to see how they do in here before I bring the rest of them down. So yeah, I've got some mini munch cucumbers at home, and they are doing really, really well at the moment. They're about 12 inches tall now, and they're starting to put on some more flowers. Now, you can sow some courgettes in May as well. In fact, you can do them in June as well, to be honest, because they do grow really, really fast. Direct sow them outside after your last frost in May. Our last frost is around about the middle of May. I'm in zone 8B. I've got a couple of courgette plants on the go, actually. I've got some in here. There's actually 2 in here. I need to separate those. Yeah, I've got a couple of courgettes there. I sowed these in April. That's probably all I'm going to need, to be honest, a couple of courgette plants, because they do provide a lot of courgettes. So I've got a couple of Defender courgettes over there, this variety, and then I've got a couple more pots of these shooting star courgettes, which haven't actually come up yet. I'm still waiting for those. So get your courgettes sown in May. Direct sow them if you're past your last frost date, or start them off at home or undercover. Now, pumpkins can also be sown in May. I sowed some in April, and in fact you can also sow the pumpkins in June as well, to be honest, because they grow really fast as well. I've got a few. I've got some Crown Prince ones sown over there. No sign of them yet. I'm still waiting for them to germinate. So any type of pumpkin, really, get them sown in the month of May, and that's fine. And like the courgettes, you can direct sow them outside after your last frost date as well. And the same goes for butternut squash. You can do the exact same with butternut squash as you do with pumpkins. Get them sown in the month of May. I've got a butternut squash plant here. One of my guinea pig plants which I've brought down. I've got some more at home, but yeah, this one's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to keep them in the greenhouse. In fact, I'm going to grow these in the polytunnel this year. I'm not going to grow them outside because yeah, they don't really do much for me outside, to be honest. Okay, so we sowed these in April, and you can sow them in May and even June as well, to be honest. Beans, I've got some, what are these? These are dwarf French beans, and the variety is tender green. I've got loads of them sown. I've got loads of those in these pots here. I'll plant these out in a couple of weeks, I think. I've also got runner beans as well. They're not popping up yet, but I've got loads of 9cm pots here with runner beans in. All good here. Yeah, runner beans, French beans, any type of bean, you can get them sown in May just fine. And like some of the other things here, you can direct sow them outside after your last frost date as well in May or June. Now, like the beans, get the peas sown in May as well. These prefer it to be a bit cooler, to be honest. These are an earlier season crop than the beans. Now, I've not actually got a packet of these seeds because they've already been sown, and those are sweet corn. May is a perfect month to get your sweet corn sown, the best month really, to be honest, because these grow incredibly quick. I sowed these in April, but get them sown in May. I'm going to grow a few of these sweet corn undercover this year because I did that a couple of years ago and I had sweet corn in June, would you believe? They grow incredibly fast in a greenhouse. I've got a few of these modules actually. There's a few more trays over here. I've got about 30 to 40 sweet corn plants in total, and they're doing really well actually over there. I'm quite impressed with them. The rest of them are just poking up now. So there are quite a few things which I'm going to be successionally sowing in May. To be honest, I'm still actually getting the hang of successionally sowing because it does require a bit of planning and organisation. I'm not the most organised person, you know, I have to admit that. I am working on it, but there's a few things here which I've already sown in March and April, which I'm also going to be sowing more of in May. So after the ones which are sown earlier come into harvest, I can then harvest these a few weeks or months down the line. So I'm not just getting everything all at once. So to start off the list of what they are, I'll start off with the brassicas, and we've got some broccoli here. This variety is called Iron Man. It's an F1 hybrid. We've actually got quite a few of them over here which we sowed in March. I think it was the end of March I sowed these. Yeah, they're doing all right. I think they're not too bad. They're coming on all right. A little bit small for this time of year, I think, getting into May. I wanted them to be a little bit bigger than this, but we have had some rubbish weather. There's actually some cabbages here as well, not just broccoli. We've got a couple of different things there. Golden Acre Primo cabbage as well, and there's another cabbage here which is sown as well. Greyhound cabbage as well. That's what's over there with the broccoli. I've actually sown a few more. Yeah, I've got a few more actually. A few more cabbages there in these mushroom trays. We really do enjoy our cabbages actually. We eat cabbage quite a lot. more successional sowings here. We've got some mixed leaf. We've got a few of them outside. Half of them have been attacked by the slugs, unfortunately. You know, that's just gardening life, isn't it? They've been attacked. We've actually got a few more here which we sowed a couple of weeks ago. They need thinning out, but they're looking really nice now. I'm going to sow a few more in maybe around mid to late May, I think. By the time them ones have gone out, I'll be sowing some more. Some more leafy salads here, which I'm going to be sowing in May. Some rocket. I've not actually sown some rocket yet, actually, to be honest, so that's not really a successional sowing. And some spinach. I've also not sown any of that yet, but I'm going to try and stagger some sowings in May and June with these, and hopefully I can have a steady harvest. Now we're also going to be sowing some radish in May as well. I've got one row of radish sown in a raised bed outside, and in a couple of weeks I'm going to sow another row as well. These are a really fast growing crop. Radish take just literally like a month to grow. The fastest growing vegetable that I know. Beetroot as well. We're going to be successionally sowing some beetroot. I've got some beetroot in modules, which when I've got time I need to transplant them outside. They're actually already outside in the modules. I just need to actually put them in the ground. You know, they've got a couple of sets of true leaves now. They're looking really nice, but I'm going to do a few more modules. Or I might direct sow these actually instead of putting them in modules. I might just direct sow a couple of rows next to these ones which I need to transplant outside into the beds. So I'm not going to be sowing any more of these ones because I've already sown loads of them. If you watched the previous video, you'll know that I've sown 2 raised beds full of carrots. Yeah, I'm not going to sow any more of them. Or maybe I will actually sow some early Nantes in a bucket like I have here. I actually have some early Nantes carrots in a container over here. I may do another one, but that's it. I've got loads outside in these raised beds, and they're coming up now. I found that slugs really like nibbling on young carrot seedlings, and so I'm keeping a good eye on them. I may use this copper tape on my raised beds because yeah, I'm going to be growing a few things in raised beds like my cabbages and my carrots as well. So copper tape, we'll see how that does this year. And parsnips as well. You can sow parsnips in May, just like the carrots. But I've already sown one raised bed of those over there. I've actually got another brassica here. Actually, I forgot to mention before. Kale, the healthiest food, or one of the healthiest vegetables out there. Proper superfood. We'd like to eat a bit of kale with our cabbages, and yeah, this variety is called Oldenbohr. Yeah, I've got a few of them from last year over there, still on the allotment actually. They're coming into flower now, but I've decided to leave them there because the bees really love the flowers. I'm simply just leaving them there for the bees. The bed's not getting used yet because I'm going to be putting onions in there in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be throwing in a few of these annual flowers. We've got some blue annuals there. We've got some cottage garden annuals there, Wilco seeds. The range is still selling Wilco seeds. Rest in peace Wilco. My favourite, my go-to gardening shop is gone. I'm really sad about that. I've also got some of these Mesembryanthemum. Yes, that's right. Mesembryanthemum. Why is it such a long name? I've got some of those. Yeah, they look really nice. When I was looking at the seeds, those jumped out at me, and they look really nice, don't they? So I'm going to sow a few of them and see how they do. Have you sown these? Have you got any experience with growing these? Let me know in the comments below, because yeah, I'm going to try these. I think these will make a really nice display at home actually. I might just grow these in our garden at home, to be honest. Okay, so that's it. Actually no, that's not it, there's some more things. there's loads, isn't there? Now, I would usually sow my potatoes in March and April. I've already sown my first and second earlies in March, and I've just sown my main crops the end of April. A little bit later than I usually would, but they're still in good time. But you can still get away with sowing your potatoes in May as well. You'll still get a crop, you'll just get it a little bit later, maybe in August, September, if you're growing main crops. But if you're growing first and second earlies and you're planting them in May, you're going to get a harvest in as little as 12 weeks, especially if you're growing new potatoes. So you can still get them in July or August if you're planting them in May, no problem at all. I wouldn't really sow them any later than that. If you're sowing them in July or August, you're really thinking about Christmas potatoes then. That's when you'll be planting your Christmas potatoes. I might not do that this year, to be honest. We had a disaster with our Christmas potatoes. They were covered in blight. That's all I'm going to say about that. So that was my May sowing video. I hope you found it useful. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to join my little gardening community, which I'm trying to create, hit the subscribe button and you press that bell icon as well, and you'll never miss whenever I upload new videos every single week. If you've got a passion for gardening, then hit that subscribe button. So that's all for now. I will see you in the next one. Happy gardening and stay safe.